Hey guys, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on for more great content.
What's your opinion on 6-man rosters? They seem to be a bit more popular. Is that something you would explore?
I definitely think 6-man rosters are necessary nowadays. But it all depends on how you do it. I quite like the way Vitality have done it, and I think it was necessary for them because they had some issues on certain maps, and they've chosen their player well, and they've done a really good job. I'm not a massive believer in the way Astralis are doing it. It seems more like Bubsky's there in case anyone can't play, more than he's going to be fighting for a place.
Yeah.
But I have no issue with that. Like, if you're open and saying we're just going to bring someone in as a 6th player who's just going to replace if we need a replacement, that's also fine with me. The player just needs to be aware of everyone's roles, which is quite a difficult task, but yeah, I think that could work as well.
I personally think it's a interesting topic because if you use it in a good way and everyone is on the same page, that no one feels like I'm getting cut or something, I think you can get the best out of it. Like, you have so many strengths, opportunities to make them. For example, many players don't like a certain map, you can just change them out, and just for this map they can just leave it open. For myself personally, I wouldn't play Train. Someone can easily play it for me, doesn't really matter, but like in general it's a really interesting topic, and I'm excited to see what will happen in future.
I'm not really sure what I think about 6-man rosters yet. Like, I don't want to have my judgment ready yet. I think there's potential there to, use let's say the best 5 for a certain map, and like when you have the busy schedules now, there's logic to it to have like a backup player, when someone, I don't know, is tired, he has something else to do, whatever, it can be anything, right? So there's some sense to it. I just feel like it's really hard to get the same chemistry with 6 guys when you keep switching, but maybe it's not that big of a problem either. You see Vitality winning a tournament now with the 6-man roster, so it's apparently it's possible to make it work, right? So it's gonna be interesting to see how that develops.
I feel like it can be a thing for sure in the future. The more serious it gets, and the more I kind of feel like it seems to be the new thing, like the future. It seems to be like, but I don't know. We'll see.
I do think they are the future. They are very interesting. I really like what Vitality is doing. They're trying to have different lineups on different maps. You have other teams sort of might have a bench warmer. They're still in all the scrims. Just maybe put a bit more pressure on the players, and sort of if someone's feeling tired, you can sort of put him on the bench. Right now it's just very extreme, everything. You sort of have these 5 players and you want to bring something in, a new guy in. He doesn't know any of the strats and it just takes so long. So I think 6-man lineup is the future.
I think 6-man rosters are for sure something for the future, but it all depends on who you get as the 6th man and what kind of roles you use it. Like, it can be an old guy helping new players to learn everything and take some pressure off them, but it can also be the new kid that needs to learn, and some people will use it to just swap players all the time, and I think it's really hard to know which way is the right way, and I think teams need to figure that out right now, I don't have the right answer for that, but I think it's the future, and I think it can be good.
I think if you have a good plan around it and a good way of executing it, I think it can be really good. Obviously Vitality just won IEM Beijing, and they have a 6-man roster and it's working well for them. So I think if you do it the right way with roles and just swapping out players in on the right maps or whatever, then I think it can actually be really good. But I think the way Astralis, for example, does it, just having one guy sit on the bench constantly, I think that's pretty bad, and it's bad for the player because he's not going to get any better, and it's just like a sub, really, no real 6-man, I guess.
I think it makes sense to bring in a young player who needs to learn a lot and he needs to like develop as a player, because then he can sit in on your practices and watch how it goes down and hopefully get some actual gameplay in to improve. But I think when you bring in a player who's been playing for a long time, like a Bubsky, for example, I think that can really stagnate your career, because he's only played like one tournament with them since he's joined.
Mhm.
And we practiced against him, and we've never actually practiced against him personally. It's always been Esteg and the other Glaive. So yeah, it must suck for him to be sitting there and watching the whole time. I'm sure he's learning a lot and he's like gaining a lot, but his individual skill might be like falling a bit because he's not playing at any scrims or any matches. So I think if you're a relevant player, I don't think it's the right player for you, like one that's already established. You should find a place on a team that you're a starting player. But I do think it has a place for young up and coming talents. Like I think Vitality bringing in what's his name? Navera. Yeah, Navera. I think that's a good play because he's a guy who's pretty new to the scene and he has a lot to learn. You can watch all these veteran players every day in practice, listen to their comms, listen to their strats and how they play together mid-round without having to like speak and play himself. So I think that he can gain a lot from that, and I think he's gonna probably improve a lot.
I think it can work. It's just the way you do it should be maybe changed. I don't like the approach Vitality is doing. Just my opinion. I don't like that I see during the maps that, let's say Misuta has a really good map and then he's like fired on, and then you suddenly change a player to the next map, and you change a player who did like 30 bomb or something, and now he has to sit off, and then the other player comes, and if this player would if they would lose the next map and then they would bring up this guy who was fired up, I could see in some teams, on some situations, this player could be probably tilted that because he took 30 bomb and now he's like put aside the next map, and then you would pick him, maybe he would not feel the play anymore. Maybe he would be a little bit tilted towards the team, that why me or what the
Yeah, I was playing good. Yes.
Yeah, so basically that can have a negative benefit also, but I like it. I just think that you should change it maybe more daily or weekly, that okay, now we play this team, you like to play more against aggressive team, so we take you, and the other one likes to play against for example a slower team. I would maybe more tactically use, I don't know what's their approach is, of course, but I would probably do this.